the BMI stuff.
I think
BMI is rubbish. They proved it wrong.
Thank you.
BMI
I think this is very, very, very dangerous, this whole thing. You cannot, first of all, just write off a whole generation and tell them they're the most overweight ever.
It's
just a bit much.
A whole generation is fat.
Exactly. A whole youth. So based on population trends, based on population trends, more than 7 in every 10 people, born between the early 1980s, that means I'm a millennial then. The early 1980s and the mid-90s will be too fat by the time they reach middle age.
Oh my gosh, they'll be too fat.
In comparison, about half of the baby boomer generation born just after World War II were fat at that age. Being fat as an adult, they've used the word fat too many times, is linked to 13 different types of cancer.
Huh?
Yeah, that's not great.
Oh, wow. The list includes breast, bowel and kidney cancer, but only 15%. This story's really, really,
it's
really
a lot.
depressing.
It is, but...
Britain is the most obese nation in Western Europe, with rates rising faster than in any other developed nation. Right, okay. First of all, I'd like to apologise for doing this story because it's really, really, really depressing.
It's giving me a headache right here.
Right. It's giving me a headache in my stomach. Is that possible?
I don't know.
I mean...
Has it put you... What would you mean? Has it put you off lunch?
It's put me off ever eating again. Because apparently...
we're not talking about you, so it's fine.
So we're all... according to this, we're all millennials because we're born between the early 80s and the mid-90s.
Is that how they
Were you born in the 90s?
90s, yeah.
And you were born in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was born in...
the 90s.
Thank you. So apparently we're all millennials. So if 7 in every 10 people in this time are fat, that means that out of in this studio, if I prorate the maths, 2 out of 3 of us are too fat. We're going to be too fat by the time we reach middle age.
We're too fat.
Probably.
Well, my answer is
fat.
Yeah.
Too fat.
You know?
Take up yoga for various reasons. You actually spend the last 5 minutes sleeping, so it's great. The best exercise class I've ever done.
I like that.
Sign up to Pure Gym Yoga, and you.
Other gym chains are available.
They are, yeah. Other gym. I go fine. This is the one I go to, guys. So
yeah,
and yeah, legitimately, the last 10 minutes actually you spend meditating, which means aka falling asleep. So
do you know what?
the best gym sash you will ever get.
I feel like you have
I sold it.
You've just rebuffed this whole story.
Have I made it slightly less gloomy?
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Because
and yoga is exercise because you're stretching and you're doing weird positions. Some of them are really weird, like on your head kind of thing. And yeah, don't do this if you've got like neck issues. Like, don't do yoga if you've got any body issues whatsoever.
Do you know what? Consult your doctor before you begin any exercise routine.
Exactly.
But I think
safeguarding, guys.
I think studies like this are good if it's gonna help us realize the link between obesity and cancer, 13 types, scary Mary.
Yeah.
But I also think it's slightly dangerous to write off a whole generation as being too fat.
I agree. A whole generation. I think that they're looking at it. You said something about trends, didn't you? I think they're probably just looking too deeply into those kind of things. They're trying to just adapt it to one thing, and that's not the case. That's like saying everyone is the same.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I said yes 3 times because that's a really good point. Because everybody's the 3 of us, our genetic makeup will be completely different. 3 completely different body types. I'm African, you're Jamaican, you are
half Italian.
There you go.
Nice.
So
I love to sell myself on that point. I'm like, look how exotic I am. I'm not just English. Got some Mediterranean blood.
But that's the thing. We've all completely different body types from different parts of the world, completely different genetics. There is no one-size-fits-all nutrition or exercise plan that's going to work for all 3 of us.
And I think, actually, the way we should look at this article is don't read it, freak out, and think, God, I'm not going to eat ever again. Eat an apple a week, because obviously that kind of obsessive, unhealthy dieting isn't right. But if you are drinking too much Coke, and you should see how much sugar is in Coke or anything, then try not to, because actually, I mean, I'm not writing off a whole generation as obese, but obesity, if these facts are right, obesity will become a problem. And if people are doing less exercise than they should be and eating the wrong foods, it can be pretty fatal. So I don't know if you guys have heard what the government is proposing. They want to implement a sugar tax in these companies. Yeah. I actually briefly watched a question time before I got bored after 5 minutes and switched over to Suits. Very good looking men. Very good. Oh, love that program. I watched it for the men, but anyway. So this sugar tax, and they want to tax large corporations like Coca-Cola if they're putting in, for the sugar they put in. And just to try and encourage companies to put in less sugar in their drinks, because I've done this. I've drunk a Fanta because I'm really, really dehydrated. I'm thirsty and I drink it. And I don't know what's in it. I don't care because it tastes bloody good.
Yeah,
and you just drink it. And I think a lot of people do that. But if you base your diet on just that, then it is very unhealthy.
Yeah,
sugar
that's
can
true.
be quite bad.
Very bad.
Very bad. Very bad. Yeah.
That's it. It's everything in moderation, and it's not about. I mean, everybody should have treats once in a while, but obviously you don't want to. I mean, you know when I don't know about you. When you're in a doctor's waiting room, you pick up a Chat magazine or a That's Life, and inside it you read the story of Susan from wherever, Woking usually, and she talks about
Where is it?
It's up the road. Everyone's fat. And when they do this before and after diet stories, and they talk about they'd have 3 liters of Coke a day. It's like, what about water?
So what are you doing?
Also, you must be high most of the day. You function. I'd be shaking.
Yeah. You did not. I was going to say something, but I shouldn't say that on air. It's not rude, but her bodily fluids must be horrible.
Well, no. That's a very good point. That if you're functioning on something that's so calorific, so sugary, and stuffed full of caffeine, don't you dehydrate yourself?
And her skin, everything must be bad.
And this is the thing. I think it's like we talked about. It's things in moderation, but it's also realizing what your body needs and doesn't need. We don't need caffeine. We don't need sugar. We don't need all these things. There's things that everything in moderation. 3 liters of Coke's not going to work, but it's just about being aware what works for you and how to be healthy.
Everything in moderation. Don't cut out cake suddenly because you think, if you eat 10,000 cakes a day, then obviously that's not good. Yeah. But don't deprive yourself. Don't deprive yourself of nice foods for the point, because you want to be a size 6. I think that's also mentally unhealthy and unhealthy in every way. I'm more of a believer in exercise, which is ironic since I do practically none. But in theory, everyone should eat what they want, of course in moderation, but eat what they want and what they enjoy eating, as long as you just make sure you walk. It's like if you could walk somewhere instead of drive there, walk there if you have extra time. Go for a run once or twice a week if you can. I think
except when there's a blizzard coming.
Except when we got the Siberian beast
from the east
stomping over here.
Get home for 6 p.m, guys.
Good old Yeti.
Yeah.
I still know what a Yeti looks like.
You're about to see one, babes. One's just going to come walking down the street. I'm telling you.
I've heard they're quite scary.
Do you know what?
Hairy and large.
Have you ever seen Yeti tails?
No.
Right. I'm going to explain off air.
Okay.
It's a weird one.
Right.
Here's Ebony.